are heading now to the most westerly point on the Australian mainland. And we're coming up shortly to the intersection of the road that'll take us there. And I reckon that this road has to have the coolest name of any road in Australia.
The Useless Loop. It is very unusual.
It is. There's definitely a story behind it. I don't know what it is. Be interesting to see how much of this is bitumen and how much of it is dirt.
Road closed when wet. That tells you something, Terry.
It sure does. Steep point, 3 hours one way, 148 kilometers.
Oh, that's far.
Excellent.
3 hours for 148 Ks on Terry's birthday.
Yes, it is. 57 years old today. Happy birthday, me.
You probably wouldn't have even known how old you were.
I probably wouldn't have.
We all help you. Turn down on our way to Steep Point. It is one corrugated road that we've been on so far, and dusty. Terry's airing down. I could hear a noise. A couple more down
We have now dropped our tire pressures down to beach pressures, and we are heading towards Shelter Bay, 14.7 kilometers from here. This is a two-way track, and they say to get yourself on channel 12. So there we are, on 12.
Hopefully no one's coming out this time of day.
Yeah, it would be very surprising, that's for sure. I didn't film the road in. It was bitumen for 20 kilometers, and then it was really good dirt for probably another 20 kilometers. And then from there, it was shit. It was corrugated nastiness. Going to be a long 14.7 kilometers at 10K an hour.
It will be.
Well, just after we said we're not going to see anybody, we've met 4 cars?
Four in 2 minutes.
Unbelievable.
Oh, look at the sand dunes over to the right. Oh, wow. We've just passed like 5 vehicles, oncoming vehicles, and we've come around, and this is what we can see. Terry's just changing the battery in our GoPro, and we can see sand dunes out here, and they're impressive.
Boy, that dune field is stunning.
Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to camp we go.
We're doing 5 kilometers an hour now. That's a 3-hour trip to camp.
Oh my God.
That is an impressive sight.
We've seen so many sand dunes this trip.
We have.
It's been crazy.
WA and South Australia are the sand dune capitals. We're just twisting and snaking through this dune field. Wow. It's like a giant pillow. We just got our first glimpse of Hartog Island out there in front of us. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. I wasn't expecting to drop down on the beach.
So smooth.
It is.
Yeah, get out of those corrugations. I've had enough of them. It'll make the last few kilometers a bit easier. Then we just got to find our campsite.
We are just rounding the ranger's house, and you actually have to check in with the ranger, so there is no way you're going to get out here without having a proper site booked.
Got Dirk Hartog Island in the background, and we are camped at Scavenger's campsite. That wind, it's forecast for really big winds the next few days, which is a bit unfortunate, but nothing we can do about it.
Today is our filler day on the Francois Perron Peninsula, and we are heading up to Steep Point. I've never seen this before. It's a photo pole. You can attach your camera on there and you can get a shot of you or your car or whatever at the most westerly point on the mainland.
We are at Steep Point. There's an orange windsock or something down there. Or a balloon. Oh, balloons.
Well, that's it. I'm as west as you can get. There's the truck up there, but another couple hundred meters away. I don't know what that is, but there are two balloons out there floating in the air, and they're anchored somewhere. So they're just sitting there. I don't know whether that's these guys down here fishing or what. I have determined that those are these guys fishing, because I can see a float in the water. Now the GoPro's not going to pick it up, the float's too small. So maybe when that float disappears under the water, it pulls the balloon into the water and they can actually see that they've got something. You'd think you'd feel it as well on the rod, but I don't know. Those balloons are about 300 meters from where the guys are fishing off the rocks, so fascinating though. I've never seen anything like it. We are now heading south along the cliffs, which are to the right of us. And our next stop, at least on the map, is a place called Nor, N-O-R.
Nor 6, I think.
Nor 6, okay,
Or was the 6 kilometers?
Jeez, I don't know.
I don't know, I just thought, it was the name of a boat that sunk in 1963, crashed into the coastline, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. This is pretty blown over, isn't it? Well-used track, just not used recently, or
the
maybe,
wind has had an effect for sure.
Yeah, it could have been used yesterday, who knows.
Yeah.
There's a marker up at the very top of that cliff up there. I wonder whether that's Nor 6.
I programmed you with Noir yesterday on night.
Exactly.
So Nor.
Our sandy track has given way to limestone, and lots of it. If it wasn't for the black marks on the track from tons and tons of cars leaving a little bit of rubber behind, you'd never find the damn thing. There's our Nor 6 marker. That is crazy, insane, gnarly cliffs. Far out. That's undercut underneath of you, hun.
At the Nor 6 Memorial Lookout, and these are some rugged, jagged cliffs. Absolutely beautiful. The wind is buffeting me here, and I'm just gawping around everywhere looking. It's beautiful.
On the 25th of April, 63, Anzac Day, the brand new prawn trawler Nor 6 crashed into the rocks below this spot at 5:30 a.m. in the early morning darkness. She was immediately overwhelmed by the surf and rolled over and sank in less than a minute. Her crew, Barry Allen, Ron Pohl, and Tony Ramonstro, were all drowned in the accident, but her skipper, Jack Drinnan, aged 38, and who had been off watch, was flung clear by the first wave. He climbed into the trawler's brine tank or ice box, which had floated clear on the backwash from the waves. At the time, the Admiralty chart of this area was incomplete. It dated back to sailing ship days when the HMS Herald made a survey of Shark Bay in 1858. Other causes were the overhead riding light reflecting on the foredeck and back into the windscreen and obscuring the helmsman's view into the night. If the Nor 6 had been half an hour later in her departure, she would have been off the point in the daylight and the cliffs would have been observed in time. A massive sea and air search over several days failed to find any trace of survivors. By the time an aircraft finally sighted the wreck, Jack Drennan and the icebox had drifted far out to sea. Police divers swam down to the wreck but could find no signs of the crew, and it was presumed that all had drowned. Meantime, Drennan was making a remarkable voyage. His raft was blowing on an easterly winds. He broke off a metal fitting and carved a hole in the icebox to gain access. Then he survived on the crew's food in the icebox and fresh water from the melted ice. Eventually the winds changed, and after 14 days adrift, reduced to drinking seawater in the end, he was blown back to the coast, close to the spot where his journey had begun. He had carved a surf ski and paddle from the icebox lid for when he got close to land. He managed to launch it and paddle south into a passage around Monkey Rock. While crossing the passage to reach Cartog Island, he was picked up by the fishing boat Sonoma, and the news of his survival was radioed to the world. In Carnarvon, the destination of the North Six, he was greeted by his wife, Jean, family, and friends who for a fortnight had believed he had been drowned. Now he is welcomed as a man back from the dead. He continued his seagoing career and died of cancer in Perth at the age of 61 in 1986. Some years after the North Six tragedy, his brine tank with barnacles washed up in the South Passage returned by the sea. And there's the cliffs that the North Six hit and went down in. Unbelievable. This is a seriously rugged coastline. More rugged than the Bight, I reckon. And in this direction you can see Steep Point. You got water on this side of the point. You got water over here on this side, and you can see the point tapering out to the most westerly part on the Australian mainland. We're continuing our trek south towards Thunder Bay and the Thunder Bay blowholes. Fingers crossed that the waves and the tides are right for the blowholes to be blowing. Because the last blowholes we went to at, what was that, Quabba Point or Quabba Beach? They were a fizzer.
They were sucking, not blowing.
I think it's safe to say nobody's been on this track this morning anyway. There is no hint of any trees out here whatsoever, is there?
No. A couple of straggly bush things there that were a bit higher than the others. I don't know if they are supposed to be trees, but they're bonsai. I don't know.
It could be. We've still got these barn swallows or cliff swallows buzzing around us, having a grand old time. What did you call them, Jill?
Dolphins of the air.
Yes, dolphins of the air, that's it. That is gorgeous. Giant canyon. I'm gonna hop out and have a look at that one, I think.
Yeah. Quite tippy.
It was a deep hole, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really deep. No point in risking anything. It's sucking us over.
We're getting a little bit pulled over. Sand on one side and stone on the others.
All the tracks tilt to the passenger side.
They tend to, don't they? It's like, what's that about? This drive certainly is breathtaking. I hope the GoPro shows the dimensionality of that, because it tends to flatten things out, and it's just so cool the way it rolls off into the distance.
Undulates.
Yeah, there's a little plaque there.
Don't drive over here.
Danger dying.
Mm-hmm. Well, these cliffs could give way.
They sure could. We just made it through that one. We didn't have a lot of momentum. I am standing on Dicko's Lookout.
Gary's moving our truck off the track because someone's coming up the dune.
That is facing west towards Steep Point. That is Shark Bay inside of there. And have a look at these dunes. These are the dunes we drove through yesterday. Just beautiful sweeping dunes going from one side of the coast to the other. We are not far from the blowholes now, about 2.5 kilometers, and hopefully they're going off. We are just leaving Dicko's Lookout, which was awesome. All right, here are the blowholes. Just met a couple of young travelers and they said that the blowholes are blowing. So fingers crossed we can find them and we can see them doing their action. These are massive. You can't see the bottom of them, but look at them compared to the size of Jill. That's crazy. And this one over here, it's blowing. So let's go check him out. Go, guy, go. All that shininess up on that rock there is all seawater.
Okay, I'm now soaked. Very salty. I'm still coughing some spray.
Look at Jill's glasses.
Yep. Delicious salt.
Yeah. Check out this baby blowhole. I'm gonna put a bottle cap in there on the suck.
Whoa! That went way over your head.
Leaving the blowholes now. We're gonna find ourselves a lunch spot, have some lunch, and then I guess we mosey back to camp. Hopefully whoever occupied Turtle 1 space has vacated and we can take up residence. That is Thunder Bay in front of us. If I was gonna guess, I'd say it was named that way because of the way the waves smash against those rocks.
There's a little pull-up loop if you want to get out and check the theory.
Okay. Welcome to Thunder Bay, Western Australia, where the waves are pumping and it doesn't sound any different than any other wave pumping. We're back down on that beach that we were yesterday when we were driving straight into the sun, and hopefully this looks a little bit better this time because it's a bit late. It's a bit earlier in the day today.
We're at Shelter Beach.
There's the lighthouse out there for Steep Point. There is Shelter Bay, back home again, with its beautiful blue water. Okay, Kells East.
Nope. There's the barge out there.
Yep, there sure is. Turtle. Myrtle.
We're sitting at camp here eating sand. It's ripping us, exfoliating us, and going in everything and everywhere. No shade at the moment. We can't put up the tarp because it's just too windy. Terry's pottering about doing some jobs. We'll have to decide what we're going to eat for tea tonight. Depends on how much sand we want to eat, I think. Sunrise this morning is a delight. Casually ferry over the Dirt Cart about just over now.
Good morning, Jaffas. I am standing on Shelter Beach, and immediately behind you is the ferry coming in from Dirk Hartog Island to take us over.